MVRemix. Peace.
www.MVRemix.com.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Saul?
Cool, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So let's see. In recent times, who has served as an inspiration for you? In recent times.
Recent times.
Yeah.
Tom York.
Tom York. Any particular reason why?
Because he's dope.
That's good.
Because there's just such great passion in his music and in his performance. That's the sort of passion that I aim to yield in any form of expression, you know?
Yeah.
Someone like him, and to me it translates into anything. Like, it can translate into hip-hop. You know, another inspirational person is Sean Penn as an actor. And it influences how I write music or write poetry. Just like, I like that level of bravado.
Yeah.
You know? Hip-hop-wise, who's I don't know, I mean, I really am moved by people like Andre 3000, you know, but I'm also inspired by 50 Cent.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, along those lines, can you tell me about your new album and why you decided to call it after your own name and such?
Well, we decided that it would be self-titled just because we thought that I was searching for titles and not coming up with much of anything, and so then we just thought, wow, you know, why not just let it be self-titled? And I thought that was great just because I feel so good about the album, and because I feel like when we decided to make it self-titled, I got really nervous because it made me then go back to all the music and think, oh my God, you know, does it reflect me? You know, like, it's important that it reflects me fully if it's going to have my name.
Yeah.
So then that made me realize, wow, a title, I guess, is kind of like something you hide behind, because I wouldn't have had those issues if it didn't have my name. You know, like, if I had a title for the album aside from my name, I wouldn't have gone back and be like, does it reflect me? You know? So I liked the way that it made me look at myself and the music.
Cool. Why, was there any particular reason why it was recorded over such a quick period, and did you have the material previously written, or was it all focused within those 10 days?
Oh, I was only in the studio for 10 days, but I mean, I had been writing stuff ever since, I don't know, like 2 years. I mean, some stuff, there's some songs I wrote in the studio during that time, and the other songs were ready, like, you know, at home. I had recorded at home.
Cool. Can you elaborate a little bit upon industrial punk hop, what that means?
Industrial because of the cranky metallic sound of the percussion in the album. Punk because of the drive of it. Hop because of the rhythms, you know, and the feel of it still is very much connected to hip hop. I knew I wanted the album to be up. I knew I wanted to move, you know, and I think that the greatest elaboration I'll be able to give on that is in the live performance of it, you know. But I think that for a long time I've just been feeling like there's a direction that I wanted to head musically, you know, and just something that really complements how I write, you know. And I think that's a challenge for some artists, is to find the music that complements their writing, you know. I've had producers make beats for me at times, and it's been cool, but it's been more complimentary of their nature than mine, you know. And so it was important for me to do beats that were complementary to what I was hearing in my head, you know. And to some people, my poetry stands out. The reason why it stands out is because of what I hear in my head when I'm writing it.
Yeah.
So this is the best example of what is there in my head.
Now, though it was in your past, as an aspiring scriptwriter myself, I marvel and I'm very much in admiration of what you did with Slam. How did you actually manage to get something that you wrote made on that sort of a scale?
Well, it wasn't my idea.
Okay.
I was in grad school for acting at the time, and I was approached by the guy who directed it, Mark Levin. And he saw me perform idea for this film, and approached me about 6 months later and asked me if I would collaborate with him as a writer on the project, which I thought was brilliant. I'd love to. I had never written a script before, but it was cool because the way that we did it wasn't, in the traditional way. It was more like how Mike Lee works, when you do a bunch of improvs and then script what comes from it, So it was, and that part was kind of simple because he was doing the organizing and I just had to show up, and I was really passionate about it, of course. And then everything, with the Cannes and Sundance, that was just all blessings, that was some part of some divine plan, I guess. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
You felt the power of it all along, like we always intended for it to do exactly what it did, which is strange, It didn't really come as a shock, although it did come as a shock. On one level it did, on another level it didn't, because we knew what we had put into it.
Nice. So, is there anything that you've been writing aside from music with regards to poetry or maybe further scripts that we've yet to hear talked about?
Yeah, my new book of poetry, which I haven't given the title out yet. I'll give it out in a couple of months probably. But the new book of poetry is the one.
Perfect. How long have you been working on that one for?
8 years.
Should be quite comprehensive.
Oh, it's crazy.
Cool.
But the thing is, not for like poetry lovers. It's actually for hip hop heads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's if ever there is, I've heard people throw around terms like hip hop poetry. Well, that's what this would be.
A while ago, I was hearing about Kanye's album, and the bootleg emerged, and all of a sudden there's a track with a guy which sounds exactly like you. And everyone starts talking about Saul Williams is working with Kanye on this track, and it turns out to be someone else.
Right.
Do you have any sort of comments on that situation, or?
I really like the song.
Okay.
And I like the poet, Jay Ivey. I thought he did a great job.
Cool. Do you have any aspirations of maybe working with someone like Kanye in the future, or?
Oh, I'm totally open to it. I've always been open to the possibility of working with artists like that. I've just never have had the money to pay for it.
Yeah, I know
but
what you
I'd
mean.
love to.
Cool. Now, you seem very clear in terms of spirituality and your personal thoughts on life and so on and so forth. Do you have any sort of specific diet? Like, some people say veganism is very good for helping be clear-minded and such, or do you just eat everyday foods and such?
I go between being vegan and eating and being vegetarian, and then occasionally eating fish.
Okay.
Like last year, I was vegan. This year, I've been I'm in New York today, and I think I'm going to eat some pizza.
Not bad once in a while.
Yeah, so I might do the occasional dairy,
Cool.
and I might do the occasional fish.
Nice. So as a
For the most
world...
part, I stick to a vegan diet.
Yeah.
Not enough to call myself one since I do the occasional.
Well, I mean, I've tried veganism before, and I just found, though it does help you a lot with clarity, I found it hard to maintain the amount of protein coming in, and so I lost a lot of muscle with that.
Oh, yeah?
So, didn't work
I
too
find
well.
it all right with the protein. It's the other stuff
Oh, okay.
I miss out on sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm
So
a
as
rice guy.
as a well-traveled man, where would you say has most enlightened you and why?
Well, depends, I was in West Africa for a month, once with my mom, and it was right after that month that I came home and started writing poetry. That was in 1994. And it was surreal. I went there, and one of the main CDs that I brought with me was Nas, Illmatic. And I was listening to Nas while taking a train from Senegal. What the? I thought that was me. Sorry. While taking a train from Senegal to Mali. It was a 34-hour ride, and was listening to Illmatic while looking out the window, driving, in places where cars can't go through Africa. It was just tripping me out. And that whole experience has opened my eyes a lot. I feel like it's the first time I ever saw the moon, and the first time I ever saw the sky, the first time I paid attention lot of things was during that trip. So my trip to Senegal, the Gambia, and Mali was very important to me. I was also an exchange student to Brazil when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I lived there for a year. And that also opened my eyes a lot, particularly to the power of the U.S.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, with regards to the power of the U.S., what did you think of Fahrenheit 9/11?
Loved it.
Okay. Have you happened to see Control Room?
Yeah, I just saw it 2 days ago.
What did you think of that?
Great film, great information. I think it's great for us to see, you know, from their perspective what's being done. I mean, it's a tragedy of what happened with Al Jazeera and the bombing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Now, as I'm not an American, as maybe you can tell, we hear the Bush versus Kerry race as being basically the lesser of two evils. In your opinion, what's your take on the situation?
My take on the situation is that we need to, I think that Bush has proven himself to be untrustworthy, and we need to get him out of office.
Yeah. With you've written a lot that Paul Robeson is an inspiration of yours, and of course it's widely known that he was blacklisted because of the fact that he had certain opinions, or because he was deemed as having certain opinions. Does that ever make you sometimes censor your words, or think more carefully about what you say in a Hollywood/mainstream environment, or does that not sway you at all?
Well, it affects me. I always think carefully about what I say. That kind of comes with being a poet. You know, I think carefully about what I say, and I think about layering it with levels of meaning so that those who hear what they need to hear it, and those who don't need to hear it, don't hear it. So that puns and double entendres are of great significance to me. I believe in coded language at times, you know. But on the other hand, we definitely live in a different age, you know, and whereas the people may not have come to the rescue for Paul Robeson, you know, we're definitely building, you know, I won't call it an army, but a coalition of people, you know, that can support us as artists when we speak up. That's what Not in Our Name is about also, is being a support group for artists who wanted to speak up against the war and what have you, and knowing that other artists had their back.
Yeah. What do you plan on working on within the next year?
Next year, I'll be finishing this book. I'll be doing this one-man show off-Broadway. I'll be touring like hell, and hopefully getting some film work in.
Cool. Could you die today saying you'd lived?
Huh?
Could you die today saying you'd lived?
I could, but I won't.
Pretty good answer. Do you have any last words to your fans or potential fans that are going to be reading this?